In today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 AI tools that are actually useful for music producers. I know AI has been the hot topic for the last year or so, but to be completely honest, AI generated music is mostly trash. I'm not worried about AI replacing me or any of my producer friends anytime soon, but there have been some pretty cool tools coming out recently that are actually useful for you as a producer that I want to share. I'm not going to be talking too much about generative AI tools like ones that make melodies or drum patterns because they usually don't sound very good and they're just not interesting to me. And I don't think they're good examples of how I think AI can actually enhance your workflow as a music producer. This list isn't only going to be limited to strictly AI music tools either. There's all kinds of ways AI can help you out as a music producer trying to make money online without doing your job for you. So let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have SYNPL 2 by Sonic Charge. This VST came out last year with a feature that had a lot of people talking about it, and that's its ability to use AI to recreate basically any sound you give it. Alright, so we're in SYNPL 2 right now, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a one shot from one of the kits on my site, and let's see how well it can recreate it. Let's give it something interesting, but nothing too crazy. I like this galactic bell. So we're just gonna go ahead and drag it onto SYNPL, and it's gonna load it right up here. And all we gotta do to have it start analyzing it is click this button right here. And it's gonna start doing its thing. We can hear it, it's kind of like making new connections, trying to figure the sound out. So far it sounds pretty good. This is the SYNPL version. That's the original. But it's very similar. It doesn't sound 100% like the original one-shot, but it's still definitely usable. You can also click on these little nodes and go back to previous versions that it made. Obviously, some of these are a little bit better than others, but it's still just a super useful tool to have in your arsenal. This is a really cool tool for sound design purposes for obvious reasons. Everything is synthesized in the VST and no samples are used at all. You can also open up the DNA of the sound itself, and you can kind of reverse engineer what gives the sound the character it has. Like you can open up the envelope and LFO, check out the oscillators, the filter. If you make kits, this is a cool tool to have in your belt for making one-shots and synth loops. Obviously, don't just feed it other samples, take those sounds and release half-ass one-shot kits. That's not going to be helpful for anybody. Next up, we have Emergent Drums by Audiolab. If SYNPL has the AI tools for synths and making one-shots, then Emergent Drums is the equivalent AI tool for drums. You can generate your own unique drum sounds from scratch using these tools. You can see you can make kicks, claps, snares, open hats, hi-hats, whatever. But what I really like is that you can drag and drop your own drum samples in and create new sounds based on what you dragged in, similar to SYNPL. Go ahead and go back to that same kit from my site and let's go ahead and find some drum sounds. Let's give it a snare. So we're gonna drag the sample in and we can play it right here on the drum pads. And you're gonna see below we have a slider right here above this generate button. This determines how similar or how different our new drum sound that we're gonna generate from this sound can be. So let's go ahead and put it like halfway between and see what we get. You're gonna click generate, let it do its thing. And we have something different. You can play with it and get different things. Let's go ahead and crank the random up. There we go. So that's a completely different sound. That's almost more of a rim sound now. The sounds it generates on its own are okay. Like there's nothing crazy there or amazing compared to drum sounds that I actually use and like. But if you make drum kits, you can see how this tool can obviously come in handy for you. What I like doing is giving it a specific sound, like a kick or a snare, and turning that into something completely different, like a clap or a perk. You can really mangle drum sounds with this plugin and sample your own samples that you make with it if you really want to get freaky. Next up, we have FL Studio's new stem splitter. FL Studio's newest update came out recently, and along with some other cool shit, they also introduced their brand new in-DAW AI stem separating tool. It's really cool because instead of having to use other tools like Lala.ai or any other third-party stem separator, you can do it right here in DAW without leaving and having to break your creative flow at all. Alright, so I got one of my beats dragged in on the timeline here, and let's see how the stem separator works. So all you gotta do is find your sample, go here and click on the top left corner and click on extract stems from samples. This is just a beat with no vocals, but I'm just gonna leave everything selected still. And let's go ahead and click extract and see what comes out. All right, and as you can see, we got 4 tracks, one for our drums, one for our bass, one for the instruments, and also a vocal. And let's go ahead and see what these stems sound like. So let's mute the original track and let's check out these drums first. We hear a little bit of artifacts, but you know, it's a good usable drum loop. Let's check out what this instrument layer sounds like. That sounds pretty good. That sounds really close to the original loop that I still have saved. So now we have the actual loop that I made. Let's go ahead and compare it to the extracted melody from FL Studio. This is the original. This is handy for producers for so many reasons. You could take acapellas and create remixes with them. You can separate the melody from a song you want to learn so you can hear it easier. The possibilities are endless. And the fact that it's all in DAW makes it that much cooler. Next up, we have a tool called SAMPL. This is a newer one to me that came to my attention while researching for this video, but it has a lot of cool features and potential in it. It basically lets you play around with the notes in your loops and samples like you can in Melodyne, but without having to spend $500 or however much it costs. It even has a free version that lets you use up to 10 seconds of audio, and its paid plan is a lot more affordable than Melodyne if you ever wanted to use it but were turned away by the costs. So we got the free version of SAMPL loaded up right now, and like I said, it can work with up to 10 seconds of audio. So I got a loop that I made earlier that I chopped up so it could fit in the 10 seconds. So let's go ahead and drag it in and see what it sounds like. And now, as you can see, it took my loop and turned it into MIDI, and we can go ahead and play with these MIDI notes like it's a piano roll in my DAW, like if I'm making the sample from scratch. So that's what the original sounds like, but let's see how we can play with it. And just like that, we're able to add a completely new, different melody with the notes that was already within my sample. I was pleasantly surprised with how well this tool sounded. There's been lots of times that I've heard loops sent to me that I want to use, but I decide not to just because there's just one thing off that I can't change in the chords or the melody just because it's baked in, like I didn't make that audio. But with a tool like this, you can play around with your loops almost as if you were making them from scratch without deteriorating the audio too much at all. Before I had Melodyne, I always wished I had a tool like this. I'd always see all my favorite producers on YouTube like Cody and them using it and making crazy shit with it, and I always wanted it so bad. I would have totally gotten this back then if I had the option to, for sure. Next couple of picks aren't music tools at all, but they're still way more helpful than any other shitty AI beat generator is for producers. And the first one is Midjourney. Midjourney has been around for a minute in the AI image generation field and is one of the most popular apps for creating AI generated images. Unlike in music, AI technology in image generation has come a lot farther, meaning that AI generated images look better than ever, especially compared to older models. Where Midjourney shines for producers is for its graphic design uses. You can use Midjourney to create thumbnails for your type beat channel, covers for your loop kits and sample packs, or literally anything else. You can really dive deep into prop generation by only watching a few YouTube videos, so the design styles and customization options are endless for you. And even though this is AI generated art, there's still lots of ways that you can make it unique and your very own. Let's say we like the vibe of this image we found from Pinterest. This would work really good for like an indie alternative type beat thumbnail. What we can do is go into Midjourney, type in /imagine. It's gonna bring up this prompt. We can take this image and drag it down into here, and that's gonna feed the image into the prompt. So the image is a picture of a car flying like ET. So let's just go with something similar. A car flying in the air with a beautiful background. Let's make it at night to make it different. And then we'll press enter and see what it comes up with. And these are the results. Obviously they look a little wonky, but it's definitely a good starting point. We can play with the prompt some more, and you can even use more than one image for inspiration. We can take the vibes of two separate pictures and combine them with Midjourney and give it a completely new prompt. And it's gonna give us a picture that's gonna have the essence of those two photos, but in a completely new way. Like I said, the possibilities are endless and only limited by your creativity and inspiration. Next up, we have ChatGPT. ChatGPT is basically the AI tool that started this whole new AI wave that's been going crazy for like the last year or two. AI tools are a lot better at writing compared to making music, and ChatGPT has slowly started to become our secret weapon over here at Heat, and a lot of other producers are finding uses for it as well. We all know email marketing is always going to be a great way to make more money as a producer, but writing emails doesn't come easy to a lot of people. I remember when I was first trying to figure email marketing out, it all seemed so daunting and I had no idea how to even write an email to 10 to my list. And tools like ChatGPT make writing a ton easier. I don't recommend having ChatGPT write your entire email with no input from you because it's just gonna end up bad. But ChatGPT is awesome for generating ideas for emails, editing your emails, and even just bouncing and writing ideas back and forth with. Think of it like having your very own personal writing assistant that you can give tasks to. You're not gonna publish exactly what it writes, but it's gonna give you a really good starting point to work your own magic on. It also has its own image generation now that's really cool compared to Midjourney, and I like using them both together. We can take that same image that we gave to Midjourney and give it to ChatGPT and ask it to take that image, analyze it, and create a brand new prompt that we can give back to Midjourney and get some different results with. Go ahead and take the prompt that ChatGPT made and go back to Midjourney and type it in and see what comes out. And it actually got this completely wrong and gave me a whole different image, but these are still kind of cool and could maybe be used for something else. It's just like a Bob Ross painting with this AI stuff. You can sometimes have happy accidents that you can play with and create a whole new vibe that you weren't even going with to begin with. Lastly, we have some AI tools for voice generation. I haven't dived too deep into this stuff. I know everybody went crazy when Ghost Producer made that AI Drake and The Weeknd song, but aside from watching that video, I've never tried to make my own AI rapper voices. There's tools like Uberduck here that I've seen people use to change one vocal to sound like another, you know, to make them sound like Tupac or Biggie. These are kind of cool, but from what I understand, the real sauce is in another software called Sovit's SVC. It's a lot more technical compared to other AI voice changing tools, but if you're halfway decent with technology and you're determined, you should be able to figure it out. I'm pretty sure that this is how all those AI remixes you hear on TikTok are made. You know, those ones where it's like a song you hear on the radio, but with SpongeBob or Hank Hill rapping about popping perks and drinking lean. If you're into stuff like that and can figure out how to use these tools, then you can do some really interesting stuff with them. People can always use this stuff to do devious things, but it's still a super powerful tool for producers just trying to push their creative boundaries. Let's say you want some female vocals for your beat, but you don't know any female singers and you can't afford to hire one from online. If you can sing well enough yourself, you can take those vocals, run them through some software like this, and then bam, you got some female vocals for your beat. The same can be done for group vocals or choirs. You can record multiple vocal takes yourself and run each one through a different voice generator and you have your own choir from scratch. The possibilities are really endless with this stuff, and that's what I really want to drive home here with all this AI technology. Producers should be way more excited for how AI can elevate their creative processes and not be afraid that it's going to take your job. Nothing is ever going to replace that human element of music, but using new AI tools in creative and not malicious ways can still enhance the way you make your art, not replace it. These have been my top AI tools that I think are actually worth it for producers in 2024. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you click the like button below and subscribe if you like videos like this and want to see more. And comment down below if I missed any cool AI tools that you guys are using. If you want to see more cool producer content like this, make sure you click on Robin's video on the screen right now on his new channel.